Hey guys, in this video we're going to go over the next set of problems on our study guide. We're going to look at numbers 9 through 17. I've got the answers for the rest of the first page, number 9 through number 13. So let's go over this first, and then we'll look at the answers to the page on the back, or to the questions on the back. So number 9 is the problem 1/2 divided by 4. This is a division problem, so we say, keep the first fraction, keep it the same. Ain't no reason to alter its name. Change the op symbol, it says to divide. Change it around, multiply this time. Flip the last fraction, flip it around. Reciprocal works better, or so I have found. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. Simplify if necessary. That's how you multiply fractions. Start with a fraction, end with a fraction. So our answer is 1/8. Number 10 is 2 divided by 1/3. Again, a division problem, so we say, keep the first fraction, keep it the same. Ain't no reason to alter its name. Change the op symbol, it says to divide. Change it around, multiply this time. Flip the last fraction, flip it around. Reciprocal works better, or so I have found. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. Simplify if necessary. That's how you multiply fractions. Start with a whole number, end with a whole number. So our answer is 6. Now we're moving into some of the word problems. Number 11 asks us to find the area of the rectangle below. We know that area equals length times width. So this is a multiplication problem with our length being 5.5 feet and our width being 6 feet. Because I have that fraction, I need to get mad. Multiply, add, denominator. What? Multiply 2 times 5, and that gets me 10. 10 plus 1 gives me a new numerator of 11. My denominator stays the same, too. I'm going to multiply that by 6, but because I need a numerator and a denominator, it becomes 6 over 1. Now I can say, multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, simplify if necessary. That's how you multiply fractions. So we're going to now have to divide 66 divided by 2. And 2 can go into 66 33 times with no remainders. So our answer is 33, and we put the label of feet squared because this is an area problem. That's how we get the answer for number 11. Number 12 says, Miss Ross walked 2.5 miles on Saturday. Miss Roundtree walked 2 times as many miles on the same day. How many miles did Miss Roundtree walk? So it tells us right here that this is times. So we're going to take it and create the equation 2.5 times 2. I have to once again get mad. Multiply, add, denominator, what? 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Our denominator stays the same. And because I need a numerator and a denominator, my whole number must go over 1. Now we can say, multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, simplify if necessary. That's how you multiply fractions. 10 halves, or 10 divided by 2, equals 5. We go back and look, how many miles? So our answer is 5 miles. Number 13, Mr. D has a stack of papers to work on that is 1 1/4 inches tall. Mrs. Baclaris has a stack of testing schedules 6 1/8 inches tall. What is the total height of their stacks together? Because we're looking for the total height of their stacks together, this is an addition problem. Our equation is going to be 1 1/4 plus 6 1/8. Because this is an addition problem, the first thing we need to find is our LCD of 4 and 8. We say 4, 8, stop. Our LCD is 8. We're going to rewrite them vertically, lining up our whole numbers and our fractions. And then we're going to create the equivalent fractions with a denominator of 8. 8 times 1 gets me 8. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 2 gets me to 8. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 1 times 2 is 2. Now I add 2 8s plus 1 8 is 3 8s. Don't forget your wholes. 6 plus 1 is 7. Our mathematical answer is 7 3/8, but we need to make it a real world answer, so we go back. What is the total height? We're measuring the height in inches. So it's 7 3/8 inches. All right, here are the answers to numbers 14 through 17. So you can take a second and check your answers with them. And then we're going to go over each one independently. So number 14 says the length of the dog bed is 2.5 feet and its width is 3/4 feet. What is the area of the dog bed? The minute we say area, we have to say that area equals length times width. We know this is a multiplication problem. The length is 2.5 feet. The width is 3/4 feet. Because I can only multiply numerators and denominators, but I have this whole number, it makes me mad. Multiply, add, denominator, what? Multiply 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 gives me 5. The denominator stays the same. Now we're ready to say multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, simplify if necessary. That's how you multiply fractions. Make sure you multiply correctly. 2 times 4 is 8, not 12. Where'd that come from? All right, so we get 15/8, but we do need to simplify. So this is the same as 15 divided by 8. 8 can go into 15 one time. Then we count up 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have 7 left over out of a total of 8. 1 7/8. I go back to the problem. I'm talking area in feet, so my label would be feet squared. Let's look at number 15. Camden walked 7/8 of a mile from his house to visit Dylan. After the visit, he walked to the store that was 1/4 of a mile past Dylan's house, and then walked back home. What is the total distance in miles that he walked? For this problem, I'm going to draw me a picture. So I'm going to start here, and this is going to be Camden's house. And then he's going to walk over here to Dylan's house. And when he did that, he walked 7/8 of a mile. After that, he's going to go, where is he going to go? He's going to go to the store. So here's the store. He's going to get to the store, and it's going to take him 1/4 of a mile to get there. And then he's going to go all the way back to his house. So the first thing I need to do is I need to know how far he went from his house all the way to the store. To do that, I'm going to do 7/8 plus 1/4. In order to do 7/8 plus 1/4, I need to find my LCD. My LCD of 4 and 8, 4, 8, stop, there it is, it's 8. I'm going to write it vertically, 7/8 plus 1/4, and I'm going to create my equivalent fractions with a denominator of 8. 4 times 2 is 8. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 1 times 2 is 2. 8 times 1 is 8. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 7 times 1 is 7. Now we add it. 7 plus 2 is 9/8. I'm going to go ahead and leave it as an improper fraction for just a second. So it's going to take 9/8 miles to go from his house all the way to the store. And because he has to do the same thing to come home, I know that I need to do 9/8 plus 9/8, or 9/8 times 2, because he goes to the store and comes home. When I do that, I get 18/8 as my answer. To simplify it, I ask myself, how many times can 8 go into 18? It can go into it 2 times, which is 16. Count up, 17, 18. That's 2 8s left over, which can simplify to 2 and 1/4. We're talking about miles. And so our answer is 2 1/4 miles, because he had to walk all the way to the store and all the way back home. Don't forget that part right there. All right, number 16. Sophia studies for her World War I test 3/4 of an hour every day. How long did she study in 5 days? So if I want to draw a little bit of a model here, she's going to study for 5 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And every day she's studying for 3/4 of an hour. When I write it like this, I can see that it's repeated addition. So the more efficient way to solve this problem would be to multiply 3/4 times 5. Because I need to multiply numerators and denominators, I'm going to take my 5 and put it over 1. And then I can say multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, simplify if necessary. That's how you multiply fractions. I get the improper fraction of 15/4. To simplify, I say how many times can 4 go into 15? And it can go into 15 3 times, which is 12. 13, 14, 15 counts up to 3 out of 4 left over. What am I asking about? How long? Because we're talking about length, it's 3/4 hours. And that's our answer for number 16. Finally, number 17. Mr. T has 2/5 of a pepperoni pizza left. He shares 1/2 of the remaining pizza with Miss Pop. What fraction of the remaining pizza did Miss Pop get? I do think that this question is just a little bit wrong. I think what it should say is what fraction of the pizza did Miss Pop get? Not the remaining pizza. We already know. She got 1/2 of the remaining pizza. Poor question. It should say what fraction of the pizza did Miss Pop get? Well, let's start by doing a model. What did Mr. T have? He had a whole pizza, but it didn't have all the slices, right? He only had 2/5 of it. So we'll split it into fifths, and we'll color in 2 of those. This is what Mr. T has. This is already gone. If he's going to share 1/2 of what remains with Miss Pop, we need to split it into 2. And this right here is what Miss Pop is going to get. So she's going to get 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2 out of the 10 pieces, or 2/10 of the pizza. This is how you can find the answer using models. We can simplify 2/10 down to 1/5. But what if you didn't want to use models? Well, let's go back. Look at the problem. It says he shares 1/2 of the remaining pizza. Well, how much remaining pizza did we have? We had 2/5. So he's going to share 1/2 of the 2/5. 1/2 of 2/5. We know that of means multiplication, so we can say multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, simplify if necessary. That's how you multiply fractions. And there you have it. That's how we get 1/5 of the pizza. I hope this helps, and I'll see you again tomorrow to go over the next part of your study guide. Bye.